You hand over your passport. He looks at your face and starts reading you backwards from the last page. You could be offended, but in the end you decide it makes as much sense as anything else, given the times we live in. You shrink to the size of the book in his hand. You can see his mind working. Keep an eye on that name. It contains a Z, and it just moved house. The birthmark shifted recently to another arm or leg. Nothing is quite the same as it should be, but what do you expect? It's a sign of the times we live in. In front of you, he flicks to the photograph and looks at you suspiciously. That's when you really have to laugh. While you were flying up in the air, they changed your chin and redid your hair. They scrubbed out your mouth and rubbed out your eyes. They made you over completely. And all that's left is his look of surprise, because you don't match your photograph, and even that is coming apart. The pieces are there, but they missed out your heart. Half your face splits away, drifts onto the page of a newspaper that's dated today. It rustles as it lands.
So when I first watched this video and read this poem, These Are the Time We Lived In, I instantly thought as if it was a joke and funny, but then I understood the significance and the meaning behind those jokes, and with comedy, so I empathized with these people and felt mad and impotent with the circumstances. I personally saw this type of rhetorical devices as a clear example of sarcasm and comedy. The chosen words were as well described with a vocabulary directed to make a joke, and that maybe was the thing that most called my attention to love this poem. So to understand more this type of poetry, you should know more about the author, who it's Mia Darker. She's a British poet, artist, and documentary filmmaker. She was born in Pakistan, raised in Glasgow, and now lives between London and Mumbai. Darker has written 6 books of poetry. The main themes of her poetry include home, freedom, journeys, geographical and cultural displacement, communal conflict, and gender politics. And Perdua and other poems deals with the various aspects of Muslim women's life, where Darker explores the idea of oppression and violence, though to be a product through the culture of Purda. Darker is also a documentary filmmaker and has written and directed more than 100 films and audiovisuals, centering on education, reproductive health, and shelter of women and children. Reading you, giving you strength, see him mind working, what you expect, sign of the time we live in, laugh, solution. Read your hair, mouth, read you completely. I am nobody. Erase my photograph, I don't belong in your case of covery. Everything to lose, eraser, to delete your life, history, story, erase your truth and life. She gracefully explores the concept of contemporary society and arguably a polarization of ethnicness and races that have sprouted in their modern age. The rhetorical devices that she uses are enjambment, repetition, and dramatic use of rhymes and irregular sequences traced through the structure of her poem. So the poem ideas that she uses are no stanzas, as the whole poem is an idea. The recurring theme that is the title. The video is divided in 3 parts, like the way that she presents it and when the title appears. She uses simple vocabulary. She blames contemporary society that is a symbol of justification for the actions that are mainly wrong in society. And she states that we, the concept, accept that judgment and justify those actions by somehow judging ourselves. So we blame ourselves in order to justify what society does and what society knows and believes in. So if after all these ideas and information that I gave you, you are not interested in knowing more about this poet and knowing more about her work, I think you must rehear everything that I just said, because I think that is amazing how she portrays each idea and how she maybe secretly tries to show us something. So I believe that it is very important that you can analyze and understand every single thing that she's trying to say, because I believe that she's an amazing author and poet, and that her work is also very interesting to analyze and know.